check 1, 2. If you are tuning in currently live, then feel free to grab a drink, get yourself comfortable. We'll be starting when the timer hits 0. If you're watching this in post, feel free to skip ahead. There's a timer on the screen that tells you when we start. Meanwhile, during this time, I'm just going to either talk to myself or get things ready on my end. Most likely the latter. Thank you, Mango Cheesecake. Nice to see you here. Callan the Alien, hello. Nice to see you. I don't think I recognize you. Welcome to the stream. Concurrent viewers is 10. That was an insane jump. Okay. From 0 to 10. Well, I should probably post about this, that this is happening. So let me go ahead and do that. Wondering how they fleshed the game out. You got jokes. Hello, hello. Welcome back, Thumper. Nice to see you. Eric Vitor? Nice to see you here. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back, Judd. Nice to see you. Lots of familiar faces here today. And Wing Chin. Welcome, welcome. Happy evening. I've got my spooky music playing today because we're going to cover a spookier game. Oh, that's important. I should probably get the PDF open. Don't I still got 2 minutes. I'm so ready. Never tell anyone. Never let anyone tell you that after 76 streams you can't be less professional than you were last time. Is that a 9-page character sheet? Let me see. I don't know. I haven't opened the character sheet. What part of not reading the game before we open it do you not understand? No, it's not a 9-page character sheet. It's multiple different character sheets. Think of it like playbooks from other games. But thank you for having the game. That's really cool. I'm honestly very excited about this one. So there's some great ones in here. Mm-hmm. 9-page character sheet now. Colloquially, wow, I don't know how to say that word. Colloquially called playbooks in other games. Every different player has a different character sheet, different prompts. The current screen is your IRL character sheet. Are you talking to me or someone else? You're lucky I wasn't hovering over the big head character sheet that I'm just looking at right now. I always wonder what people's first impressions of these streams are. I'm always worried because every day, well, with the last 10 seconds of my warm up, every day I cover every stream I cover a different author, and they have their first impression of me for the first time, and I'm always worried about my first impressions. But oh my gosh, I forgot to set something up. Give me 5 more seconds. Ooh. That's no bueno. Alright, I'm not gonna go to the next page until I got this thing set up. Someone vamp for me. Quick. We're almost there. I totally forgot to set up a graphic on the next page, which I totally didn't forget to do until just now. Nobody call me out on it. Oh, there it is. Come on, I'm a professional. I'm a professional. Sure, this will work. Yes, we are so clean. Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone. Oh, I forgot that. It's supposed to be a surprise. Welcome everyone to the 99 More stream where we cover 99 other tabletop RPGs. My name is Wintry, and today we are covering a game that was totally spoiled by me not hiding this. In case you didn't read the title of this stream, we're covering game 76 of 99 tabletop RPGs. We have in fact been at this for 2 years and 4 months, and we are finally in the last quarter of our 99 game coverage. And this is the first of 2 games hosted by Bully Pulpit Games, or published by Bully Pulpit Games. You might know them from games like Fiasco or Star-Crossed, 2 incredibly famous tabletop games. Well, today we're covering a game called The Skeletons, which comes from them as well. Now, this game is super duper interesting because I read the premise and I was like, hey, this is a game that I wish existed a long time ago. Well, and it did. It existed, I believe, in 2021 or 2022. I could check the itch.io once we get to that. But this game, its premise is generally that you play the skeletons in the dungeon. So often are we the adventurers marching through the dungeon, making sure that we find the treasure we're looking for, or seeking adventure or fame or fortune, yada yada yada. This time you're the skeletons. And what an interesting and fun prompt or premise for a game to exist on. Serendipitously, as I was looking for games to cover, I was listening to the podcast Talk of the Table, which is a fantastic podcast that hosts a number of tabletop RPG game designers. And on it, a recent guest was Jason Morningstar, the person who wrote this game. And they described one of their design philosophies as pushing the boundaries of what a tabletop RPG can be and what it can ask players to do. And just reading through the premise of this game and skimming through the first couple pages, I really like what this game has to offer in terms of a unique experience in the tabletop RPG sphere. I also appreciate that the game designer in particular likes to keep their games pretty brief. It likes to keep their playtime within 2 hours so that you can experience the full breadth of a game within a very short amount of time, which is very useful for people who are getting old like me. Kind of. So I'm going to jump into this game. Let me just answer chat. Callan the Alien, how does the series work on your channel? Well, the 99 More series is that every week I cover a different tabletop RPG. I began this at the top of January of 2023, and every single week, except the weeks I skipped because I was sick and or on vacation and or busy with something else, we covered an entirely different game. If you go to my YouTube page and go to the live tab, you'll find at least 75 other streams covering 75 other games. This is game 76, and we're aiming to finish this series by the end of 2025, which we're right on track to do, which is really cool. We managed to cover 10 games in the first quarter, getting from 61 to 70, and then these couple months until June, we're hoping to hit 80, and we're at 76, so we're pretty darn close. It's going to be fantastic. So, with that said, let's jump into this game. Let's go check it out, see what it's all about. In messaging the author and the publisher of this game, I've been told not to cover the whole game, obviously, because there's some secrets we would like to keep for people who actually purchase the game and look at it. So I will venture into what I believe necessary to understand how to play and what it's all about. So without further ado, let's jump in. Will this next page be exactly what I'm looking for? Sure is. Fantastic. So you can find this game on itch.io. Itch.io, again, hosts a number of tabletop RPGs digitally, and you can buy it here. You can find this at bullypulpitgames.itch.io/the-skeletons. The link should be in the video description below. You can also go to their homepage on itch, which is Bully Pulpit Games, and you'll see a number of games you probably have heard of before, which include but are not limited to Star-Crossed, as well as I thought Fiasco. Fiasco. These two games I've played, and they are wonderful. So next week we're covering this game, The Warren, which is also a fantastic premise by a different author or a different game designer. So looking forward to that. I thank them again for allowing me to cover these games. So with that said, you can also visit bullypulpitgames.com, and this is where they sell their stuff. This is where you can find all their games, which is really neat. Okay. I am going to read this just to let you guys know what this game is all about. And I hope the spooky music is playing, because it's the general vibe of this game. Years fly by like dead leaves. Everything is darkness. Everything is silence. You stand vigilant before the sarcophagus without thought or breath, such is your compulsion. You do not remember your name, and still you watch. The flesh has fallen off your bones, and still you watch. And then one day there is light and motion, and you weigh your bearded axe and raise your shield, lusting for the fray, eager to measure your skill against these tomb-robbing children so full of blood. You'll never be alive again, but in this moment, in the chaos between violation and destruction, you truly live. And remember what you once were, and you taste the sun. The Skeletons flips the script on the classic dungeon crawl. Here you play not the intruders, but the guardians, cursed to spend all of eternity defending a tomb. As time passes, both the tomb and its guardians will change. Ferocious battles are fought and won, and the Skeletons slowly remember who and what they once were. Melancholy, introspective, and spanning epochs, the Skeletons is unlike anything you've ever played. What a good sell, right? What a good pitch. That's fantastic. As you can see here, the game is entirely 17 pages. You can find 9 pages, as we've said before, of different character sheets of different characters you can play in this game. That's a fantastic pitch. That sold me right away. So without further ado, let's actually jump into the game and get reading. Cool. And this is what we just read. Okay. Now, you'll notice in this game, you see preparing to play in the top left of the page and ending the game at the bottom right of the page. So we're going to get a general glimpse of what this game is all about by just this page alone, so we'll read it through. The Skeletons is a meditative, structured, free-form game. It flips the script on the classic dungeon crawl. As we said before, we play as the intruders, not the intruders, but the guardians, cursed to spend all of eternity defending a tomb. You can play this with 1 to 6 players, with 1 or more hours to spend together, and a quiet place to play that can be darkened. Oh, I could turn off the lights if I want to do this. If you have neither quiet or darkness, close your eyes instead. You need printouts of the rules and the Skeletons, a large sheet of blank paper, pencils and pens, a 6-sided die, and a timer of some sort, and optionally, sounds of the tomb to be played as the years grind past. This is when you go to Google, this is when you go to YouTube and search dark cave ambience 1 hour, right? And then just leave that playing for a while. All right, choose your Skeletons. Let each player choose a skeleton to play. There are 8. Each have specific questions that you may answer during the game. When the game begins, you know nothing, just as they remember nothing. And each skeleton is a cipher. Over time, you will learn more. So, as we read before, these Skeletons aren't really sure of their identities. They only come to life when there are intruders within the dungeon. So a big portion of this game is trying to figure out who you are in the brief moments where you have sentience and autonomy. So we're going to take a look at the character sheets at the end. Let's just finish this read through real quick. Draw a map. Work together to sketch the outlines of the tomb. It can be any general shape or size. It needs to be built around a central sarcophagus. Oh, okay. So we are defending something. and have north, south, east, and west walls. It's fine to make the tomb visually interesting, but don't add any elaborate details. Use a large sheet of paper, letter-sized or bigger, and leave plenty of room for added information as you play. Draw on the map where your skeletons each stand silent. Try again. Draw on the map where your skeletons each stand silent. Each stand silent watch in the darkness while the tomb remains undisturbed. Callan the Alien says, can I be big boned? Well, we're gonna find out. There's a bunch of different kinds of skeletons here. So there's silver torque, rusted shirt, tattered cloak, headless, arrow shield, outsider, horror, big head. Here you go. Callan, this is for you. You could be big head. Look at that. Perfect. That's a big bone. Crawler. Oh, and crawler. Okay, so those are your options. If any of those fit with the one you're looking for, we can take a look at it a little later. Okay, so we have chosen our skeletons. We've drawn our map. Let's figure out how we actually play this. Unless you're playing alone, you will need to cooperate to reveal the skeleton's past and future. The game will ask you to make choices, so decide in advance how they will be made. Taking turns? By consensus? Sometimes something will happen to a single skeleton. The actions of intruders require similar cooperation. Consider giving a different player responsibility for each group of intruders and let them make all the decisions for that brief slice of time. Their skeleton can be strangely still. Okay, so this is basically saying how are you guys going to coordinate running the actual intruders. And it basically says that if there's multiples of you, one of you can go silent or go still and control the intruders during that specific invasion, and then you guys can take turns and see how each group responds, you know? Give everybody an opportunity to play as the skeletons themselves. Pretty straightforward so far. Take a moment. When you have skeletons and a map, turn out the lights and take a moment to breathe. Feel the silence. Imagine the weight of countless years. When you're ready, turn on the lights and say, "Arise and protect the tomb's skeletal guardians. An intruder is breaking into the tomb." Okay. Kaleidoscope, welcome back to the stream. Nice to see you. Dibs on headless. More than welcome to. Okay, playing the game. What the heck does this look like? How do we actually defend the tomb? Intruders. When an intruder violates the tomb, the skeletons spring into action. They are cursed to defend the tomb against all comers with as much ferocity as they can muster forever. It is the only time when they can move, think, and feel. That's a crazy line. Let's just highlight that. All else is darkness. During an encounter, the skeletons can communicate with each other telepathically, discuss matters, make plans, and otherwise exhibit a limited form of agency. They must always act to remove threats to the tomb, and are incapable of any action that contravenes this goal. They can be clever, remaining still to orchestrate an ambush, for example, but they cannot ignore or aid an intruder. While an intruder is present, skeletons may also remember bits of their past. Their minds are their own for the duration of the encounter, provided they are busy removing threats. Once the threat is removed, they must immediately return to their watch posts and be still. Skeletons win encounters with intruders. Tomb robbers, wandering beasts, and other pests are driven away or killed until finally they are not. The rules change when you reach the third part of the game, Desecration, and it is there that the skeletons will likely be defeated. So this is an interesting premise. So basically it's saying that there are scenes or encounters that are kind of preset, and your responsibility during these scenes is to flesh out your character as they happen. So it says here in the third part of the game, the Desecration, is when your skeletons are finally defeated, which means in the first two sections, they win. It says here, skeletons win encounters with intruders. So your job is the how, your job is the what, what does that look like, so to speak, where does it happen, how does your team work together, and then eventually you are defeated in the third scene. So It's a nice way to keep this game concise and to keep the game and story flowing. So you really only have these very brief moments to flesh out your character and understand or dive into what their past could have been. When it is time for your first encounter, choose one from the unsealed tomb and mark it off. Do whatever the instructions say. Let's see if we can try to do this today. Let's try to run through the first encounter, the unsealed tomb, and then follow through what they have for us. After each encounter, choose a length of time. On the associated time passes table, always do whatever the instructions say. So we're going to do that. We're going to do the unsealed tomb is the goal. And then we're going to do the time passes just to understand both sides of this game. Again, there's kind of two states of being. There's one where you're fighting off intruders and one where you're standing still until the end of time. So, ending the game. The game ends when a seasoned group of intruders manages to scatter the skeleton's bones, or when you are content to leave your skeletons in a cold, dark place forever. Take a final moment to sit in silence in the dark, and then turn the lights back on, have a snack, and talk about the experience you just shared. And this, I feel like, really encompasses what I like about tabletop RPGs. If you take a paragraph like this, not even a paragraph, just a sentence, take this and kind of search the rest of the games that you play, the rest of your life, at any point in your life, where can you find something like this, right? A game that simply tells you to sit silent and reflect on what you just experienced. You look at what? Monopoly, you're not going to do something like that. You look at any board game, you guys aren't going to take a time to meditate and reconvene. This is more akin to an experience rather than the traditional competitive games that we're dealing with. So when we talk about tabletop RPGs really pushing the boundaries of what they're allowed to be, so to speak, or what they're defined as, this is one of those scenarios. The reason why I like playing tabletop RPGs and not limiting myself to one anymore is that I want to experience new things. I want to see new things. I want to witness the creativity of different authors and game designers. I want to see what else is out there, right? So this specific moment reminds me of a game called 10 Candles. 10 Candles is a game where you start with 10 candles and you slowly blow them out as the story passes, and the game ends when all the 10 candles are no longer lit. It's supposed to be this progressive experience where the scenario changes as time passes and as you progress. Not every game, not every tabletop RPG is supposed to last for days or weeks or multiple sessions or even years as some people play their games. And that's okay. Not every game needs to last forever. It can be good in just the moment, right? Some people, you remember a movie that only lasted an hour and a half, right? And they could be life-changing. They could be truly perspective warping or things like that. So I invite you, when you hear about games like this, and we haven't even gotten past the first page of reading, right? I invite you, when you see games like these, to keep an open mind about how that can be a new experience for you. And at the end of it, you don't have to say you enjoyed it. You can be true to yourself. You can say that maybe it wasn't for you, or maybe you were looking for something else, and that's okay. But the idea, what separates tabletop games from tabletop RPGs is this idea that you're walking away with an experience and I won't say tangible, but a memory, right? I will never, ever forget when I got to play D&D for the first time. I just thought it was an entirely different thing I've never experienced. And I felt the same way about when I played Fiasco with my friends. And I'm just like, I didn't know I could weave stories like these in such a short amount of time. So I don't know where you guys are in terms of your experiences with tabletops, but one of the biggest points and one of the biggest cornerstones of these live streams is to keep allow you guys to keep your guys open on what could be experienced at a table. So cool. Yeah. I don't know. I was not listening to the chat, but now I'm just going to read it. Judd says 10 Candles is a wonderful game. Yeah, dude, I hear so much about it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I really would like to. And yeah, so this is the unsealed. Oh, the next page is the unsealed tomb. Okay. The next page is the unsealed tomb. I see. Okay, so we will do what the game says and pick a skeleton. Let's do that. I'm going to pick a skeleton. I'll play the solo. And if you guys want to play someone else, you're more than welcome to. I'm looking in chat and people are already picking what they want. I see Bonehead has been picked by Callan. Horror has been picked by Judd. Thumper wants 2 heads. I don't know if there's 2 heads. I would recommend you get to burn your character sheet. Judd, I don't know what game that happens in, but that would be cool. I know there's what are games? What are cool games like that? One Page Left. One Page Left is a cool game. It's like a horror. We covered it like almost a year ago. It's a game about running away from a murderer in a haunted house or whatever it is, and you have to keep filling in details on this one piece of paper, and when you run out of room, you basically lose. So it's a very fun game. But that reminds me of ruin your character sheet is a very common trope. Oh, it's in 10 candles? Fantastic. Glacier Nestor, welcome back. You're late. Skeleton hours started like 20 minutes. It's okay. We're going to save the VOD anyway. I'm going to pick a skeleton. Let me do that. Silver Torque. Rusted shirt. Rusted shirt. Your rusty coat of mail hangs off your bones. You carry a bent spear. Sketch the details. Oh, so you can draw on this? Oh, well. Maybe we can go into paint and make it look good. We'll try it. Tattered cloak. Scraps of once red cloth shroud your bones. You carry a battle-scarred sword. Draw sketch in the details. Okay, so these are kind of like, you know, those like little, like those blank Barbie models, and you draw the clothes on them. This is kind of what that feels like. Headless. Your skull is long gone, but it doesn't matter. You carry an iron mace and a holy symbol. Sketching the details on the illustration. I kind of dig this. I'm leaning towards headless. Leaning towards headless. Arrow shield. A round shield peppered with arrows protects your bones. You carry a bearded axe. What is a bearded axe? I don't know what a bearded axe is. Is it okay if I look that up? Let's go find out what that is. Because it's been said twice already. Bearded axe. Oh, it's like a little hanging beard on the axe. I see. Thank you, Internet, for clarifying. Alright. Outsider. Your bones are unlike the others. You carry a weapon that suits your frame and fearsome armor. Ooh, okay. Outsider is a bit of a different shaped fellow. Horror. You were assembled or summoned or imagined by an unstable mind and made real. You carry no weapon. You are a weapon, but you were adorned with jewelry. This is kind of cool. I understand why. Was it Judd who picked it? Yeah, this is a neat one. Big head. This one's Callan. A narrow band of tarnished silver encircles your bulbous skull. Around your neck hangs an amulet bearing a strange symbol of forgotten meaning. Okay. Kind of the brainiac of the crew. And the last one's Crawler. Bent in life, bent in death. You cannot stand upright. You scuttle and crouch like a beast. You carry a much nicked knife and wear the remains of an elegant fur-trimmed jacket. Okay, there's a couple really interesting ones here. I think Kaleidoscope took headless. All right, you guys are welcome to rewind the stream, find the character sheet you like, and fill out the details as you would like to. And if, you know, depending on how the Unsealed Tomb goes, you guys can write in some details about your character in chat as we do this. I think I will keep it simple and go with Tattered Cloak. Let's go with Tattered Cloak. I love this posture. Let's see if I can just like grab this. Okay, and then maybe I'll just open up paint. How's that? We're back at paint. Oh, look at that. You guys can see it. Let me see if I can fix that. Yeah. Okay, that's decent. We're looking decent. Okay. Here we go. Look at us. Artists. Fantastic. This will be fine. I'll just drag you over here. All right. So, scraps of once red cloth shroud your bones. You carry a battle-scarred sword. Okay. Let's get to work. Let's start with red, of course. Scraps of once red cloth. I'm thinking we need like a little bit of a watercolor. Watercolor too strong? Oh, there you go. That's good. Okay. So scraps of once red cloth shroud your bones. So I'm thinking like a cloak type thing. So we're gonna go like this, right? Just get some of that going. I think that's great. Right? Another one over here. You would just like hang it off like that. There. Oh my gosh. Great. Let's get this. No, let's fill this in just a little bit. Let's see if I can get a different brush to fill in. Maybe an airbrush would be cool. No, that's no good. That's no good at all. Marker? Nope. Nope. We're sticking with watercolor. Yeah. Make it a little bigger. Just go like. Yeah! Oh my gosh, that's what we want. That's the one. Look at that. Could you imagine being a skeleton? If I woke up looking like this every time I needed to fight intruders, I would know I'm up to no good, right? I would know they'd be dead. Anyway, we need to make a battle-scarred sword. So I'm going to pick like a... probably a greenish. Let's go with a greenish color. Maybe we can play around with that green. A little darker. I want it to be like covered in moss, you know? That's kind of the energy. Let's go calligraphy brush. Let's make it a little smaller. Yeah, okay, okay. Which hand has the sword? It'd be this one. It's like, he's gonna... Oh, yeah. Let's do this. Right? It's gonna be like this. We got a sword. These drawing streams, I gotta say, really enjoy them. So, and then we got this like wicked... how many of you guys know Gratz from D&D? He's got this wicked curled sword that like looks like it turns into Zabimaru. That's a reference I don't think anyone's gonna get. Yeah, like that. Something nasty. Okay, let's get a little bit of watercolor in there. I'm looking for like a sickly color. Just like that's my cool battle scarred sword. We could a little bit of red on the hilt. The red on the hilt is not my weapon enemy, it's me. That's my blood, because I died with this sword. This is looking great. I'm gonna give him like a little thing going on here. It's got like a hat. I think he would prefer not to be bald. Let's see if we can fix this up. Something like that. All right, something like that. Maybe like a headband type. Cool. Looking good. And then he's got like a brown shawl, right? He's got this going on across him. Yeah. Look at that. He's got like scratches because he's all marred up. But he's got these cool shoulder pads. Because every cape has to have cool shoulder pads, right? How can you have one without the other? And I think that's good, right? This is our guy. This is Mr. Tattered Cloak, right? I think it looks fantastic. All right. This is our guy, and let's answer some questions about him. Okay? Oh, and we have to make the map too. We can work on the map later. Okay. Oh, answer these as time passes? Oh, we're not even at time passes. Okay. So we don't do this yet. This is time passes. Answer these as you create the map together. Who are interred in the 7 niches along the southern wall? Note your answer on the map. Who are interred? Who's interred? What does that word mean? I'm Googling it. Interred. Place in a grave or tomb. Oh! Today we learned. Interred or inter means to place in a grave or tomb. I see. Okay. Who are interred in the 7 niches along the southern wall? Okay, so let's draw a map. You know what, guys? I'm ready for this. 3, 2, 1, bang. We got Dungeon Scrawl. Dungeon Scrawl, handy dandy free map maker. How cool is that? Okay, so I'm going to place myself somewhere around here. Let's just start off with a really simple room. This is the room that has the sarcophagus that we're protecting. Maybe we can place like a thing here that means a sarcophagus. Sure, this one's fine. Let's just get that going. This is a sarcophagus. Let's not think too hard. Right. Sarcophagus, and we protect this main room. Then we go back to drawing. Nope. How do we go back to drawing? I've already forgotten. Wall tool. Nope, that's walls. Nope. Draw? How quickly we forget how to do anything. Rectangle tool. Fantastic. Okay. So this tomb, I'm imagining only has one entrance because this. Right, something like that. So you got to slip through this door to get in, sort of, so to speak, like that. And then there is kind of a winding hall this way. And this way, we've got like making sure that it's not easy to get in, you know? Like it's not a walk in the park. So there's a couple of different branching paths that just lead you in the entirely wrong direction. So like this way, right? And then there's like this. There's this. And the people going this way, they're not going to go in. They're not going to end up anywhere. They're going to end up in this large room that gives you nothing, you know? There's going to be nothing in here but a trap. We're going to go this way. Let's walk over here. There's probably an entrance somewhere this way. Here's a big room to intimidate them. A lot of this was not built with the intent of living in it. We could say like, oh, we could do this, but not have it not lead anywhere. A lot of an effective dungeon is a whole lot of rooms that do nothing for you. You know, it could speak of a history of people once existing here, but the truly crazy dungeons don't actually get you anywhere. So this is the basic premise of my dungeon, and I would love if like the entrance of the dungeon was right here, right? This is the entrance of the dungeon right over here. Yeah, I'm drawing and you guys aren't seeing. This is the entrance of the dungeon, and if you could just punch through this 10 feet of wall, you would just end up at the sarcophagus. But actually, I have you walk all the way around here, and this whole section over here does nothing for you. That's my dungeon. And then we could say that the 7 people here along the southern wall, right? They said there's like grave sites here, right? I think that these were the people that my dude used to be in charge of. He seems like my character with the tattered cloak seems like somebody who was in charge at one point, who stood for something and led the original venture into the cavern, and then got super killed. And all of his men got super killed too. So he was the only one preserved as a skeleton to continue fighting because he was the most skilled, but the rest of his comrades were left to rot. And as someone who was reckoning with his new existence, he decided to bury his history and put it in the ground against the southern wall. Splotchy Inc. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the stream. And also welcome Gaspar Peralta. I think you were here before. Your name sounds pretty familiar. Splotchy Inc. says, do like dungeons built in like caves where there's no intelligent design, but instead having to command and deal with what nature has created. That's real. I just watched a video about like the development of caverns through the deterioration of limestone and the passage of water through those caverns. Yeah, most caves are real and random because they were made by water. And this is intentionally confounding design is what I would like to believe my dungeon is. Yeah, Thumper says, we fought the Necromancer and the Necromancer won. Absolutely. I think every skeleton down here is truly the victim of a lost battle. And the sarcophagus is maybe the phylactery, is that what they call it? The backup body of the Necromancer. That makes perfect sense to me. You know, that's a classic fantasy setup. And all of us, all these skeletons that are here, the headless and the Other ones are simply people who've died at different periods of time, like truly crossing the eras of existence, different cultures, different purposes. We were not originally a team, but now we are, I think, is the general premise of all of us arriving here. Okay, pretty good. So we have made our map. We have made our dude. So let's find our way to the unsealed tomb and see where that story leads us. So again, we have to start this game proper. Let's do that. We're going to start with take a moment. If you want to truly visual... Why is there up here? What is this? Is this a second paint instance? That's fine. I'll just put you here. Okay. To honor the premise of this game, I've turned off the lights in my room. And we are really trying to put ourselves in the mindset of people trying to play this game. Obviously, this is a stream, so we can't mimic it perfectly. And in the privacy of your own home, playing this with your friends, this will obviously be an entirely different experience. But let's see if we can try to play this game how the game writes it. So I'm going to retake a moment, and this is how you prep yourself to play this game. When you have skeletons and a map, turn out the lights and take a moment to breathe. Feel the silence. Imagine the weight of countless years. And when you're ready, turn on the lights and say, arise and protect the tomb, skeletal guardians. Okay? Lights are off, and we're going to have a moment of silence. Imagine yourself as a skeleton frozen in time for countless years. Seconds, minutes, hours, days mean nothing. An endless pause. And you feel a surge of energy pass through your silver bones, and a voice rising from the sarcophagus. Arise and protect the tomb, skeletal guardians, as life begins to roar back into you. Okay, the unsealed tomb. Choose an intruder. Oh, my drawing is blocking the way. Choose an intruder. So funny that's there. Choose an intruder, mark it, and follow the instructions. When 2 intruders have been checked off and dealt with, go to the time of dust. Okay. I will start with grave rats. Grave rats. How do you drive away such small, agile creatures and prevent their return? Everyone can answer one question if they wish. Choose once on either the glory fades or God's laugh table. Oh, okay. That's probably farther down. Okay. This is our first challenge. I will say as life begins to rush back into the tattered cloak's body, you can I feel this strange but not unwelcome adventurous spirit churning back into me. It is so good to shake off the cobwebs and the dust that cover the brilliant cloak that I wear. I feel the sheen of metal flash from my palm, bearing the sword that failed me once, but never again. I see the threat in the distance, a cluster of small creatures running across the stonework. Barely an intruder, but an intruder still. And I brandish my blade and begin to charge towards them. And in this moment, I'm going to look to answer a question on my sheet. Tattered Cloak. What by name did you earn in life that describes your greatest accomplishment? Absolutely. While my true name escapes me, I remember what people called me, as I heard it much more often. On the battlefield, the name I bore was the Trail of Scarlet. Some described my movements through crowds and armies as a flash of red, a strand of scarlet fabric weaving its way through the tapestry of war. Some remember me by the trail that I left behind, scarred and broken, bleeding men lying on the ground, trails of blood, imprinted by my footprints. And sometimes people describe me by my first impression, a searing red in their gaze, an anger at my taunts, humiliating words, something that spurred them to battle in anger, in frustration. I was frustrating. I was dangerous. And everything I did reminded me of the brilliancy of life. Always moving, always changing. And in these brief seconds that our master allows us, I'm reminded of how great I once was. And I relish it. I enjoyed my legacy. And I hope that every intruder that walks in here, I hope that one of them would eventually remember who I once was. I look down at this cluster of grave rats in disgust, knowing that they do not know my legacy, and never will. Blade slashes into the ground, scarring the stonework with this sickly green and purple. Not even enough blood in these creatures to leave a trail. Choose once on either the Glory Fades or God's Laugh table. So I don't know what that is. Let me see if I can find it. Glory Fades. Choose and mark. For anything affecting a single skeleton, choose which however you like. Ooh. Okay. So let's do God's Laugh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna roll a quick die to see what I'm doing here. Let's get a dice roller to get a d6. A 5. So what does a 5 represent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something in from the skeleton's past has been accidentally revealed. What was it? And why was it hidden? Note this on the map. Oh, cool. Okay. I think that Tattered Cloak's rampage through the grave rats leads him back to the southern hall. Where there are bodies interred into the 7 niches within the southern wall. One that the Tattered Cloak loves to declare as his original entourage, all decimated by the necromancer, and he honors them with these tombstones. But as he heads to this space to clear out the last of the grave rats remaining here, his blade cracks across a fragile wooden a fragile wooden cross as an emblem of honoring his crewmates. And as the cross falls, some roots from the ground pull, and it's revealed beneath the roots, beneath the ground and the stonework. You see cloaks entirely of blue, of a different allegiance. For the entourage that Tattered Cloak remembers, the group of 7 soldiers he brought to this dungeon were not his followers. The history that the Tattered Cloak remembers as a brilliant commander, of a leader, of someone to be aspired towards, is entirely fabricated. For in fact, he's a mercenary of no allegiances, a man of no ties, no friends or allies. The venture into this tomb was simply one of many jobs. Tattered Cloak was hired by the Cloaks of Blue to lead the way into this dungeon. And as they all passed, as all of them died, Tattered Cloak looks to them as the only people he ever believed he could have befriended with enough time. A sad existence he had. A life of pain and suffering and the deliverance of such. As the last of the grave rat squeals and cries, he looks at the glimpse of the blue cloaks, realizing his memories of them are ever faulty. How much of himself was left to be proud of? How much of him was still remembered? Who could know? We're going to bounce back to the Unsealed Tomb. I think for this stream, we will keep it at 1 intruder. In the actual scenario, the Unsealed Tomb, you would be handling 2 intruders, right? So we would be maybe let me bounce over. Oops, I dragged the chat. Go back. So back in the original, in the Unsealed Tomb, you can look here. Grave Rats is only the first prompt. The other 2 are over here if you'd like to choose them. The Amateur Tomb Robber is somebody you could run into, and then again you choose either the Glory Phase or God's Laugh table to reflect on the person you were, and then a Spirit of Place is the other one. So instead of doing those, I'm going to bounce to the next section. Assumedly, when 2 true intruders have been checked off and dealt with, go to the Time of Dust. So what is the Time of Dust? Oh, okay, so this is part 2, so we don't do this yet. Instead, we'll stay with the Unsealed Tomb. So after each intrusion, we'll instead we go to Time Passes. Obviously, after our service has been completed, we're going to bounce over a period of dormancy where we don't do anything. So let's see. After each intruder is driven away or killed, choose one of the options, mark it off, and sit in darkness as indicated. Think about the endless silence and unfathomable darkness. So, how long will Tattered Cloak have to wait until he gets to experience life again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options here. Let's roll a die for it. 3. That means we are waiting for a week. A week in this game is turn off the lights and sit in silence for 10 seconds, then say arise and protect the tomb, skeletal guardians, and begin a new encounter. Oh snap, so it continually... So as to envision the moment of time passing and kind of giving you a brief respite to reflect on how your characters changed and what they recognized about themselves. Each of these is a different window of time, so to speak. Like you could see a full decade of waiting is sitting in silence for a full minute. So I'm assuming you just set a timer and let it tick quietly until you begin the next encounter. And this is kind of the pattern. So you got to see there the intruder section had these great little inflection points where you get to answer one question about yourself, which we did here, and then go to the glory fades or God's laugh table where something unexpected happens. Either you begin to deteriorate or someone else begins to deteriorate, or you find a happenstance of a falsehood that you remember, things like that. So if this is something that interests you, if this is like if you can see yourself playing a game like this, I would say just go for it solo, right? Try it as one person, and if you really like the experience, then you can invite a couple of friends and really give it a full go. I think what this game does really well is it allows you to quickly improvise a painting of who this person could have been, because truly the only details that I have of who my character could have been are the physical details, right? All I looked at was the cool sword, the cool cape, and I decided that this guy had a lot of bravado. This guy had a lot of pride, an ego, right? And just his posture and how the skeleton is positioned speaks to me as somebody who wants to be lauded and celebrated. And none of that was written down. And when it asks me, oh, what was a falsehood? I wanted to say something revealed about his past was that he actually wasn't celebrated. That's something he deluded himself into thinking. And people only wanted him for his skills and very little else. So to imagine yourself existing in an endless window of time, and then immediately waking up to have life for only these briefest of moments, you wonder, I guess I feel like I immediately wondered, do these skeletons have any coping mechanisms, right? Like how do they deal with the melancholy of eternal service, right? How do they handle reckoning with the infinite passage of time to a master that does not care for their fate, right? And I envision that as somebody who wanted to be someone he could be proud of. And this is just one way to kind of handle this whole situation. Anyway, I'm not going to read ahead, but we know that after the time of dust after the unsealed tomb is the time of dust, and after the time of dust is desecration. So there are, I would say, 5 or 6 more instances of you being able to build out your character. And you can, if you're playing in a group, you can have someone else play as the intruders and play as the counterpoints to your realizations. If someone really wants to play as a grave rat and personify that, by all means, they're more than welcome to. I hope that the people in chat who chose different types of characters or chose their skeleton had a moment to envision what their character could look like, or even just like drop the picture in paint and just doodled what their skeleton, how they envisioned their skeleton looking like. So I think that's it, right? I don't really want to go any farther because I would spoil the rest of the game. So in summary, the Skeletons by Jason Morningstar has basically 1 page of introductory text, 1 page of how to play, and then multiple pages of scenarios that they put you in. A really cool, that's the destination. I don't want to spoil that. Here, tomb tables, glory fades, God laughs. These are cool instances of what happens to your character that you don't expect. I think that's super neat. And if you want to find this game for yourself, you can find it on itch.io. bullypulpitgames.itch.io or bullypulpitgames.com. That is where you can find this game for yourself. And that's all I'm going to cover. I feel like that's good. There are house rules, Judd says. Cool. Let me see if I can find it so I don't have to show anything else on the stream that I don't really want to. Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay, I'll bounce over to that. Things to try, it says here. So there's playing with a facilitator, so playing with a GM. There's rotating the spotlight. This is how you play solo. Playing with distant friends is over Skype, and you can choose a map maker, somebody who you feel is the best at drawing the map. And these are different options. Playing with time is really interesting. So you can allow yourself to have flashbacks or think about things that happen during these large expanses of time. And then this is what it says, connect the dots. By the end of the game, your tomb is well realized and filled with tragic history, incredible treasure, and the scattered bones of its defeated defenders. It's a wonderful set piece to drop into another game. Oh, that's cool. Either as is or with a different ending, and some still active skeletons for bold adventurers to senselessly blend in. That's very funny. So the idea is that after you've run this game, you could put this dungeon literally anywhere, and know the history of the place through a game like this. How cool. All right, that's all I've got for today. A little bit of a shorter stream, but it's a shorter game. So check this game out. Again, Bully Pulpit Games is the publisher, and Jason Morningstar is the author. Thank you guys for joining me today. Next week is The Warren. We're going to cover The Warren, which is also published by Bully Pulpit Games. So that should be really fun. It's about rabbits and bunnies, and I think sad things that might happen to them. That's not a pitch. We'll just have to find out. It's got rabbits, and we'll undo that. Thank you guys for joining us. See you next time. Have a wonderful week and stay frosty.